Hey friends! Today we're at Lone Star Comics on Abrams Street in Dallas, Texas, where we get to meet actor Robert Picardo. Today we met up with Robert Picardo to speak with him about the importance of literacy in an actor's career. His successful work as an actor has been featured in over 170 titles, and he's still going strong. Mr. Picardo.
Yes?
What inspired you to take up a career in acting?
I was not a very good athlete. In fact, I suspect you're not a very good athlete either.
Sadly, no.
Yeah, and it was a way to meet girls, first of all. Because I was better apparently in the school play than I was on the playing field. So I think that was part of it, but also it gave me an outlet for those sort of class clown impulses to try to make people laugh.
What was your favorite book as a child?
I would say as a young child, Curious George, because I learned how to make a boat, from reading the book, which was very cool, and I still know how to make the boat, although don't challenge me this moment, but I can do it. And then as I got a little older, The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson.
Ooh, that's a scary one.
It's very scary. It's a great horror novella.
Do you remember your first acting role?
Yes. It was in Winnie the Pooh. And I played.
No way.
Yes, Winnie the Pooh. You're not a relative of any of those guys.
No, but I love that story.
It's a great story. It's a really great story. And I was Kanga. I was the mother of Roo. So I had to fret when my little baby fell into the water, and before we could rescue Roo. So it was my first and only female role, strangely. And the fact that it didn't confuse me or damage me in any way is something that I've always rather marveled at. Or perhaps it has, and I'm just not aware of it.
How important is literacy to an acting career?
I think it's very important because so much of an actor's work is doing research. You may get a role in a world that you're completely unfamiliar with, and you have to study up. And I remember one of my first major theater roles was in a play about the Beat Generation, about Jack Kerouac and Allen Ginsberg and all those great writers of the late 40s and 1950s. So I had to really study about that world in order to convincingly create the character I was playing, which was Allen Ginsberg, from about 16 years old to his early 40s. This applies to my film and television work as well. It's very important as an actor to be able to study the kind of world that your character exists in, which of course involves a great deal of reading and research. So it's important not only to be a good reader, but to know how to do research and find good source material that helps you.
So, Mr. Picardo, what advice do you have for young aspiring actors today?
Always check your fly before you go on stage. That's very important. I think it's be tenacious, work hard, study. A lot of people think that being, an actor is all glamour and fun, but you have to study and develop your own technique. So I recommend going to school, and I recommend starting in the theater because I think that's your best education for acting, and then it's easier to move toward, film and television work.
So, for your fans out there, what are your current projects today?
Well, I have a couple of movies that are coming out this year. One based on a very famous novel, Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged. It is the second book. They made a feature film of the first book. This has an entirely new cast and a new director, and I play a character that's based on the great physicist Robert Oppenheimer, who developed the nuclear bomb, named Richard Statler in the book. I have another family drama called The Legends of Nathia coming out. But interestingly, since I mentioned just a few moments ago that my favorite childhood book was The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, I just created an audiobook, which is about to premiere in the next 2 weeks. You'll be able to find it on Amazon and bsxrecords.com, which is the producer. So it's an original recording of the book with all original music, and I play all the different characters and do all different voices for all the different characters. It was a great deal of fun, and if you're stuck in a car for 6 hours and you want to be entertained and scared and creeped out and delighted, then this is for you.
Well, hey, it's been great talking to you. Thank you so much for the interview.
My pleasure. Thank you. That was a very long-winded answer.
It's a good
I should have
mixture,
just said yes. It helps.
Yes, it helps.
Yes, literacy, it helps.
So